There we go. So Google Meet for the new user. Normally, when I'm doing these kind of webinars, my friends, I would normally go into present mode. So things are, big and beautiful and fancy like this. But instead today, I'm going to stay out of present mode because we are going to be toggling back and forth between a couple of different drives and going into Classroom. So first of all, our link down here is for our slides. If you haven't gotten that yet, please grab that, save a copy so that you've got that as a resource for your continued practice and learning. All right, so our goal today, we have 5 outcomes that we're going to meet in the next 55 minutes. We'll be done by 11:30 today, at least with the general instruction. Please know, my friends, I will be jumping in and looking at chat throughout our entire session today and at some very specific points where we can stop together. So throw your stuff into chat, and then please, if I don't answer your question by the time 11:30 hits, hang on. I'm happy to stay on for a little while afterwards. I don't have another training till 1, so I have more flexibility than the morning session. I'm happy to stay on and make sure that your questions are answered. So if it's something beyond kind of the scope of this or just something unique, or you've just got an idea, hang tight. I want to make sure we meet everybody's needs before we move on. So our 5 outcomes today, my friends, if I'm looking back at the slides, number 1, what is the difference between Hangout and Meet? There has been a lot of questions about this, so I want to first clarify those 2 platforms. Secondly, we're going to show you how to activate and start a Meet. Once we practice that, then we're going to learn how to schedule and share. And then number 4, when we think about meeting, especially with kids, we're going to learn how to control that meeting, chat, discussion, sharing, closed caption, all those sorts of things that are built into Meet. And then finally, I would like to share some resources with you. So let's go ahead and dive in, my friends. I'm going to jump to this first slide, Google Hangout versus Google Meet. I didn't mention this before, but let me just share that while I mentioned I am a management analyst with KCSOS, prior to coming to KCSOS, I spent 21 years in the Kern High School District, the last 7 of which actively engaged in bringing the district into the Google platform and for teachers and for kids. So I am a self-professed Google nerd. I absolutely live and breathe the platform every single day. Let's make sure we're staying. Let me go to management here, guys. Please make sure your mics are muted. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I know it happens periodically, but anyways, so I've been really fortunate to get to work in Google for a long, long time. That said, Meet is a relatively new feature, so I expect that we will be learning together today. So I just want to be transparent about my Google geekiness, but at the same time, I'm looking forward. If you've got additional advice as we go through, please feel free to jump in. So getting back to our slides here, the difference between Hangout on the left and Meet on the right. Essentially, there's been a lot of talk, is Meet replacing Hangout? The short answer is no, it is not. Actually, the 2 are splitting. So for a while, Google Hangout has been around for a long time, and it's really been more of a social platform for users to be able to somewhat formally, but mostly informally collaborate. It's not had, until recently, it's not had a lot of sharing tools or whiteboard tools or things like that. And it's been kind of a clunky integration sometimes with Classroom. Google was trying to push that out and make it more like a Zoom or Teams type platform for classroom presentations. And not long ago, they realized that really they're talking about 2 different solutions here. So the left side, Google Hangout, will be in the coming months phased out of G Suite applications. So right now in your G Suite that's managed by your district, you may have Hangout, but that will in the coming months disappear and be replaced with Meet on the right. However, on the personal side, so in your personal Gmail account, you will continue to have access to Hangouts indefinitely. There's no plan for it to go away, but Meet on the right side only lives is only accessible to users to create a Meet if you have a G Suite managed platform by a business or a school district. So let me show you first how that looks. So I'm going to click here. I've changed my tabs, and you'll notice in the top right, I'm in my G Suite here for KCSOS. I can make that a little bit bigger. So you'll notice there's my G Suite icon. And if I go to my Google Waffle right up there in the top right corner, again, this is my KCSOS managed G Suite platform. And you'll see that I have Meet right here. And of course, I have Classroom and all my other Google options. And if I scroll down, you'll see I still have Hangouts. Remember, Hangouts will be available for a couple more months, but slowly being phased out. but you'll notice that Meet is automatically one of my options. So if I switch tabs again, I'm going to click over here, and here, let me make it larger. You'll see I have a different icon. This is my personal Gmail account. And if I, whoops, sorry guys, if I click on my waffle right here, you'll notice that as I scroll down, I have Hangouts, but I don't have Meet at all because this is not a managed platform. This is just my my free Google. So I can continue to use Hangouts on the private personal side, and I can even on the managed side for now. But soon, if I'm back here on my managed side, soon this Hangouts will disappear and they'll be expecting you to use Meets instead. And we'll walk through what all that looks like in just a minute. And by the way, I just got a private message about one of my files here. Yes, I really do have a lesson called What's in Your Grilled Cheese. I teach a class for 12-year-olds on Wednesday nights. It's a long story, but hit me up privately if you want to see a copy. That's actually a really great lesson for 12-year-olds to understand the difference between how people see them and what they know on the inside. So sorry. All right, so let's go back here to our slides. So our first agenda item hopefully was met. I'm going to pause and see if we have anything in chat, but the differences between Hangout and Meet, essentially for us that are using this in a managed platform, Hangouts are going away. So I would, if you're using Hangouts for your kids, I would start to transition into Meets as, it doesn't have to be urgent, but I would start to prepare for that because they will start to go away. All right, let's see. I don't see the link for the slides. Thank you, Melissa. Put that back in. Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate that. Can Meet be hacked like is what is happening with Zoom? It can, but once we get in, I'm going to show you how you can take some protections against that. And actually to close a meeting in Meet if you need to is actually faster than in Zoom. But potentially any digital meeting can be hijacked, even with a password, because once you share the password, if somebody nefarious really wants to share that and put it out, they can. But I can show you some steps, and thank you for asking that. Make sure I address that, Lydia, make sure I address that when we get into meeting controls, okay? And then from Marshall, very, very less likely for Google Meets Hangouts to be hacked. Yes, agreed, Marshall, it is less likely for sure. And part of that also is because of the frequency of use. Zoom is used so often that's really where hackers are focused right now. And also there's additional protections in a protected G Suite environment that make it a little bit harder. But great point, Marshall, you're absolutely right. They are less likely, but I can't say that it's impossible for somebody to get into anything. All right, so let's get into a little bit more about how to activate our second goal. How do you activate and start? So here's kind of the pattern I want to use today, guys. I'm going to go through first in the slides and talk through the steps. Then I want to switch tabs and I want to actually walk you through the steps so you can see it live time. And then I'm going to stop talking, which is very contrary for me. But I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to encourage you to have a tab open and actually be kicking the tires on this and messing around with Meet and asking your questions in chat. Because again, as we've already shown, there's great expertise already in this group. So let's capitalize on that. So how do you activate and start Meet? First of all, we're going to work all this through Google Classroom because again, if you're utilizing Google Classroom, I want to show you how this is embedded. I will pull out and also show you how you can go just directly to Meet, but first I'm going to show you how to do it through Classroom. So the steps. We're going to go to Classroom in your G Suite waffle, and I'm going to open up a training platform that I have, and I'm going to encourage you to join my class. I'm going to kick everybody out of that after training today, but it will help to just demonstrate the platform if we can have some users. So right now I don't have any students in there. So in a minute, I'll ask you to join my class. You don't have to, but if you want to, that'd be great. You're going to click on your class. Once the class is open, you're going to go to the cog in the top right corner, that little gear cog. You're going to have to first activate Google Meet. Your classroom, unless you've used it already, you're going to have to turn it on, which is super easy. And then I'm going to show you where, once you turn it on, you can see and adjust your classroom meeting number and how students have access to it. So these first steps are just about turning it on and knowing where your Meet number is. Kind of like you have a Zoom room number, you have a Meet number as well to be able to show, to have an individual meeting room. So let's go and do those things, shall we? Let me, hang on a second here, guys. I need to open one other thing over here on the other side so I don't forget any of my steps. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to go see, again, notice in the top right corner, I am actually in my G Suite, in my managed Google environment, and I'm going to click on the waffle here in the top right corner. And from Waffle, I'm going to actually go into Classroom. So again, I could go right into Meet, and I'll show you that in a minute, but I want to first manage this through Classroom. So my Google Classrooms will open up, and you guys are Classroom users, so your landing page here is going to be way more impressive than mine. I just have one training class in here. I don't see kids every day like you guys do. So I am going to open that training class, and if you'll see here, here's my class code. If you feel like you want to join me in my class code here, let me make it a little easier to read. If you want to add a class here, D2 Dog 5W, would love to have you jump into my class. If you'd prefer not to, that is perfectly fine, but I'm going to pause for a moment and leave that there. If anybody wants to copy it and jump into my class for training purposes, that would be great. Again, no expectation, nothing required. All right, I'm going to give it about 10 more seconds before I shut that piece down. Again, it's lowercase d, the number 2, the word dog, all lowercase, the number 5, and the letter W, also lowercase. You know what? I can paste this into chat too. So if you want to jump in later. And I see a question in chat. Where do you add that? That's a great question. Let me show you that. There's the password in chat. So I'm going to close this. To add a class, my friends, from Classroom, go right up here. Whoops, that's the training cog. Sorry about that. Oh, where's the plus class? Great question, guys. Oh, there it is. So if you go to the base of your Google Classroom, so let me go back again. I'm going to go to my Waffle, and I'm going to click on Classroom, and my Classrooms will open up, and you'll notice here in the top right corner, I have a plus sign. So you can hit that plus sign and then select Join a Class. And that's where you can now paste in that code that I just showed you and click Join. I'm not going to hit join because it's my class. All right, so we'll go back to my training class here, guys, and let's jump in to our next piece. So to actually turn Google Classroom on, what you want to do, my friends, is go up here to the top right corner to this cog or this gear, whatever you and your folks call it. And you want to scroll down here under General, and you'll see under General, I have this piece that says Meet. If you're having trouble joining the class, don't worry about it, guys. It's just for training purposes. It may very well be locked out for just KCSOS, like Rebecca just said. So my apologies if that won't work for today. That's okay. You can still see Meet, and we'll still get you up and running with this thing. So again, I've hit my, my Google Gear, and I scroll down a little bit under General, and Meet. Now you'll see my Meet is already turned on. If you have not yet turned on Meet, you'll have a button right here on the right that says to activate Google Meet. So please click on that to activate it. And it might give you a confirmation window to make sure that's what you want to do. Once you've activated it, then you can see a couple of things. First of all, here is my individual meeting room. So just like in Zoom or just like in Teams, I have an individual Chris Persons or my class meeting Zoom that you can use. Now, people right away want to say, okay, so if I use that once, does that mean a kid can jump into any meeting? Potentially, yes, but you can change that right here on the dropdown. So anytime, if you've used a Meet and then you're going to use it again and you don't want to use the same meeting, maybe it's a different group of students, maybe your course enrollment has changed, maybe somebody has sent it out and kids are jumping in that you don't want to jump in, you simply reset it here, and you'll notice that now I have a new individual meeting. The other piece right here, guys, is visible to students. So if I turn off visible to students, I can use my meeting room and just have meetings with staff or adults or parents, but no students can enroll unless I activate it right here. So if that slide is on the right side and is turned blue, then that is visible to students, meaning they can see the meeting room when they come to the class tile. If we turn it off, then they can't see it, and you would have to send it to them. So depending on what your purpose is there, could be very different uses. So I'm going to pause for a minute, and I want to give everybody just a couple of moments. If you haven't already, here's what I think I'll do. Let me back out of this so it's more visible. I'm going to walk through that whole thing from start to finish one more time. And please either click along or just watch with me. And let's see. Oh, I've got to save that because I changed. So it's asking me to save here in the top corner because I changed the meeting room. So I go to my Waffle friends, And again, I click on Classroom because I want to go to my classroom. I want to initiate this from my classroom. Once Classroom opens up, I'm going to select my class. So I'm going to select my training class. Once my training class or your class is opened up, I want you to go to the top right corner to this gear. Click on the gear, and that's your settings, remember. And then you want to go down here to Meet and make sure that it's turned on. And go ahead and change and reset this meeting password or the meeting name. Go ahead and adjust the on-off just to be able to adjust it. And once you're done, click Save. You do not have to turn Meet on every time you go into Classroom. Once it's on, and you decide if you want to use it or not. So I'm going to pause for a minute and check in with chat. Let's make sure everybody is practicing that. Let me see, what do we have in chat? Let's see, all right. Let's see, we covered that. Won't let me join. Again, sorry about that, guys. So, yeah. Okay, will this be the same for students that are joining the meet? No, Elena, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. There are different steps, and I'll show you that on how students can join the meeting. We'll get to that in just once we start it up. And then let's see, let's go down. If we have 5 classes, does that mean we will have to host 5 different meeting codes, assuming we stay with online learning? Yes, you will have a code for each class, but I'll show you in a minute how you can also invite more people than just the kids in your class. You can send that meeting code out broader. So if you wanted to do a meeting with kids in multiple classes, you don't necessarily have to have 3 codes. You can if you want 3 different meetings, but you can also invite more people in your Google domain into that, or into your G Suite domain into that meeting. Okay, let's see. And from Kimberly, is this a meeting room associated with our Google Class account in general or only for that one class? It is isolated by class, Kimberly. So if you have multiple classes, you can click through your G Suite right now and you'll see you will have multiple names for your meeting as well. And again, the idea there is that they intend for you to be able to use that with your individual kids in a particular class, but you absolutely can push that out more broadly as well. Okay, Irma, won't let you join the class. Yes, sorry, we addressed that earlier. Sorry, Irma, unfortunately, the class setting that I have is you would have to be in KCSOS, so you will not be able to join my class. My apologies. And Ken Burdick, hello, my friend. Good to see you. Welcome. All right, we had a couple of minutes. I'm not seeing any additional chat, so I'm going to assume that people are up and running and they have activated their classroom. And let's make sure, guys, that we are keeping our microphones on mute. We're up to 63 people, so important that we can all hear without the background noise. So, all right, friends, let's go on. We have now, let me go back to my presentation here and take a look at our goals. So we have talked about Hangout versus Meet, and we have activated and started Meet within our classes. Now let's talk about schedule and share. So same as we did before, guys, I want to walk through the steps here with you. Then I want to go and demonstrate the steps for you, and then I'm going to let you click away and ask questions. So again, we're gonna create a meeting, schedule and share a meeting from Classroom first. So first, you're going to go to your Classroom in your G Suite waffle. You're going to open your class. Then the way to get to Meet is to go to Classwork and then click on Calendar, select a date, and add a meeting to the calendar or appointment. Or there's multiple ways you can do this. You can use the Meet link in the course title, or you can go straight to the calendar. So I'm going to demonstrate all of those things, okay? I'm going to demonstrate the first one, the first option here first. So let me go back to my classroom here, and let me close this other tab. So again, I'm in my G Suite domain. You'll see in the top right here, it says G Suite. I've got my mugshot from KCSOS. I'm going to first go from my waffle and open Classroom. Then the next direction is to select the class. Now I only have one, you probably have many more. And then in the top center here, you'll notice I have a number of options. So stream is the front page and the communication stream in your class. The second piece, classwork, is where I want to select to get to Meet. So first classwork, and then I can click right here. You'll see Meet is one of the options So if I want to open a Meet like straight away without scheduling it, I can click here and it's actually in a new tab. See up here at the top, here's my class, but here's Meet, and it's turning me on or turning on here and asking me if I want to turn it on. I'm not going to turn it on yet because I want to demonstrate the other ways to get here. So one way is to go to your classwork and then click on Meet. But remember, part of what we're trying to learn here is how to schedule a meeting. So to schedule it, same thing, I go to classwork, and now I'm going to go to Google Calendar from classwork. My calendar pops up, and you'll see we're here on the 11th. Let's say that I want to schedule a meeting for 1 o'clock today. I'm going to go to 1 o'clock and double click right there, and the appointment's going to open up, and you'll see right here, guys, one of my default options. Once I turn Meet on in my classroom, one of my default options for Meet is right here on the calendar. So if I want to add it, I can select it, and now Meet is part of that calendar appointment. And you'll see here it will host up to 250 people. That might change by district, guys. I'm not sure what the limitations are there, but mine is set for 250. So you can take a look at that as you create your notification. But I'm going to just call my event. Let's see. I'm going to add a title here. I'm just going to call this a test event so we can easily find it. I'm not going to worry about a location, and I'm going to hit save. And what you'll notice is my meeting has set up here at 1 o'clock like we talked about. Remember, I just called it test, and I can open it up, and right here, now that I've saved the event, if I want to join that Meet, I can click right from the calendar. So if you're sending this out and putting it on your classroom calendar, your kids can jump to it right from the appointment in classroom. All right, so we talked about how to create it from calendar, and we talked about how to create it just by opening an instant Meet. There's two more things that we want to talk about in how to use the Meet in the course title. So I'm gonna close this calendar function, and I'm gonna go back to my class. So the other way that you can open up Meet, guys, without having to click everywhere is just, you've got your Meet link. Once you turn it on, your Meet link is right here, and you can simply click on it right here. And again, it will open a new window and tell you, hey, we're ready. Is it time to go live on your meeting? And again, I'm going to open the Meet in a little bit, but I first want to just show you how to open them up. Okay, so we've talked about a couple of ways to get there so far. There's one last way I want to show you. So all of this has been how to create a Meet from your classroom. I also want to show you how you can go directly to your calendar. So if I go up here again to my waffle in the top right corner, and again, I'm under my KCSOS G Suite. If I just go straight to calendar. So before, remember, I went classroom, calendar, and then opened up Meet. You'll see here's the test I made, but I can also just go directly to calendar from the waffle. And same thing, you'll see I have the option here to create a Google Meet, and let's call this test 2, and we'll hit save. So a couple of different ways that you can create a Meet. Let's go back to the slide deck here because I'm going to set you loose to mess around with them here for a minute. You're going to go to your classroom in your G Suite waffle, click on the class that you want to do the Meet for, preferably the one that you've already turned Meet on for, correct? You're going to go to classwork. Well, first of all, once you open up your class, you can go to classwork and just open up Meet, or you can click calendar, select a date, and open up a meeting. That's one way to do it. Or you can use the Meet link on the front tile, or you can go directly to your calendar, and it will be one of the options once you open up a new calendar appointment. So I'm going to pause there for a few minutes, guys, and I'm going to let you mess around with all the different ways that you can get into scheduling a Meet, and then how you can share that and how you get that link. So I'm going to check into chat real quick, and why don't you guys click around and post any questions you have in chat. Let's see, Lori, this is where we go to add description and put it in at g.co.meet. And here you name it more for security. Okay, so you can change the name. Is that where you're changing the name of the meeting, Lori? Let's open that up. Oh, and this is a Hangouts call. Okay. So this is actually a Hangouts example, but yeah, there is a way that you can also be a little more secure about that. All right, how's everybody doing? I'm not seeing anything in the chat. I'm assuming that means good things as people are working through. But if not, please don't hesitate to drop it in the chat and let's learn together. If you're new to the meeting, my friends, I'm going to repost our link to the slides. I would encourage you to grab that link, even if you don't keep it open right now, but go ahead and save that as a resource just to be able to refer back to as we move on into other content. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's see, is there a particular way to join as a presenter versus a participant? Yes, to be a presenter, thank you, Kimberly, you have to actually be the one that opens the meeting. And I'm going to get into how to actually open the meeting and control things, the meeting controls right now. So let's go there. Let's go there together. So let me go back to my slide deck and let's revisit our options here. So we've talked about our first three, Hangout versus Meet. You've activated a meeting and then how to schedule and share. So let's talk about meeting controls and actually opening up the meeting itself. So I'm going to switch back over here to my classroom and there we go. Let me close a few of these other tabs down because we won't need that one. So once we start a meeting, so I'm gonna go ahead and just start a meeting now. I'm gonna start it from my Meet link that's on the title tab here on my course. But remember, you could do that a number of ways. And in fact, before I do that, you could click on that here, right, and open a meeting. You can also go to Classwork and click on Meet right here in the top where you see the camera. You can select it that way. You can also, remember before I told you, you can also go straight to Meet from your waffle. You can also just go to your waffle like I have here and select Meet. Any one of those will take you to the same place. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the course tile just because I'm going to go back to the course tile. So I'm going to open up Meet. You'll, again, notice across the top here, my friends, Meet opens in a new window. So you can actually toggle around. Notice the red dot. That red dot on that tab is indicating that your camera is on. So for instance, as I look now at my camera on my Mac, I can see that the green light is indicated and I am live. So when you see that red dot, make sure you're ready to go live, you know, make sure your background and everybody in that view is ready to go live as well. To start the meeting, I'm simply going to hit join now. And it's going to give me some confirmation information. So if I want to start a meeting and then share it out, I can use this code and shoot it out to people. So I can grab this code and email it out. I could grab this code and text it out even if I wanted to. You can see people can dial in here. Here's the US dial-in number and there's the PIN. That will be audio only, but they can dial in. You can also copy all the joining info right here. And this window comes up every time you open Meet, no matter how you open it. So every meeting you start, or every Meet, pardon me, that you start, you'll have all of these options available to you. So I can copy the joining information here and then paste it in an email if I want something more formal, but I can also add people. So I think about this especially as a collaborative tool with our colleagues, my friends. I can click on add people and I can either enter their name or you'll see here it's also grabbing some different frequent Gmails in my account. It will do the same for yours. Of course, yours will be unique to you, but you can also paste different emails. So if you have your email list somewhere else, you can paste them in here and it will send an invite to those folks. Let's say if I wanted to invite myself, so this is my private Gmail account. If I hit send email, that's how it's going to invite people. So with Zoom, remember, you can do that a number of ways, especially if you have the Zoom app, you can actually call somebody. With the Meet app, you're going to actually hit an email and it will shoot out and they will get a link that way. So I'll go ahead and send that email and then let me jump in over here and open up my email real quick and I'll show you that that link will live right here in my heavily overpowered inbox right here. So I can click on this link, open this email, and you can see this is where I can join the meeting. I'm not going to join it both as a host and a participant because I really don't want to be the person that breaks Google. That would hurt my feelings. So instead, I'm going to go back here to my meeting. And now that my meeting is up, I want to walk through some meeting controls with everybody. So you'll have to excuse me looking off to the side here, but I'm actually using a larger screen for demonstration because it's easier for the viewer. So you're going to see my handsome profile here on the side and probably notice that I didn't shave this morning, but that's okay. All right, so in the meeting itself, if you'll notice up here, guys, in the top right corner, I have a couple of different managing options for the meeting once it is open. You can hit the chat button here, and that's going to open chat on the side, and you'll have two options here once this is open. You can view chat, so down at the bottom is where I can type chat in. So here's where that synchronous communication during the meeting is going to happen. And here I can also manage the people that are in the meeting. So if this meeting wasn't just me, excuse me, guys, if this meeting wasn't just me, you'd see a list of folks down here. And if I needed to remove somebody or mute somebody, I can do that right here as well. To close that window, I simply just click back on the screen. And again, you'll notice I can get to those places right here. If I hit people instead of chat, it just opens that side of the window first. So if you're, I keep likening things back to Zoom just because I think a lot of us are in Zoom. So if that's not you, I apologize. But if you're in Zoom managing users, it's going to put manage users up top and chat below. In Google, it's just going to have them side by side, and you can just toggle between the two, as you can see right here. So again, to click out of that view, I just click on the screen itself. I'm going to keep going around the horn here in a clockwise fashion. If you look in the bottom right corner, we'll see our famous skinny snowman that will give us a number of other options. So we're going to open up that window. Here's where you can change the layout of the screen. So again, if you want a sidebar view or a spotlight view, or you want tiled, I won't change any of these now because it's just me, although would it be all tiles of just me? Wouldn't that be funny? Let's take a look again if it'll allow me to do any of these. Probably not going to change anything because it's just me. But again, you can see there's very clear diagrams here on what possible layouts you can choose from. I'm going to go back to the skinny snowman. You can also go to full screen. That's just going to push it out automatically to your entire screen. I love this tool, turn on captions. You can do this one of two ways. You'll notice it's in the gear right here, but it's also down here at the bottom of the page, turns on the exact same tool. So I'm going to turn on captions. And you'll see that I now have a window down here, and it is trying to read everything I say to translate, which is great for our accessibility aspect of things, to make sure that we have equity and support for students. But you'll also notice that the translation is not perfect. It is not immediate. For instance, if I start to talk really fast, it takes a couple of minutes to catch up. But you can see also it's not perfect, but it is pretty good. There are better tools out there, but there's one for you. And you can turn captions on and off just by reselecting it. So I'm going to turn captions off. Let's finish up our skinny snowman before we move on. Here's where you can go to settings, and that's going to give you your options to change your microphone or your camera. So if you open up a Meet and you don't have anything on video or audio, this is where you can set and test that right here. There's your audio settings on the left, and if I click on video, I have my video settings on that other tab. One more thing here in the skinny snowman, or a couple of things, I guess. You can switch over to phone for audio. I don't frequently use that, but if there's something wrong with your microphone, you could use phone audio if you're presenting, just to get through it. And then here's some report problems, abuse, and help down here in the bottom corner. Present now. So much like any other, whether it's Teams or Zoom or anything else, you have a present now option, which will allow you, instead of having your camera on, will allow you to select another tab or screen on your computer. So I'm going to select present now, and you'll notice I have options. I can say show my entire screen, so that's going to open up to everything on my screen. I can present just one window, or I can present a tab. So I'm going to present a tab, or select, pardon me, a tab. And you know what, I'll grab my slide deck here for new users and hit share. And you will notice now that you are looking at, instead of looking at me, you're looking at the slide deck, which I can then navigate from here. I can go to present mode just like normal, just like any other software would. I can escape from that the exact same way. And you'll notice up here, I'm not sure if you can see this piece or not, but I have a button to stop my tab sharing at the top. And I doubt you can see that, but if you can, great. So we hit on stop sharing, and the screen should go back. I can go back here, and I have to select my tab, and my camera is back on. So, all right. So Let's pause there. Actually, hang on. Let me look. Did I cover everything? We covered present now, turn on captions. That's the same as the skinny snowman. A couple more things, guys. First of all, here's how you can turn your camera on or off, right down here at the bottom. Here's how you can turn your audio on or off. And it muted me there for a moment. And if I won't actually click this, but I can leave or end the call very, very quickly right here too. And as the meeting host, if you end the call, it ends it for everybody. So getting back to worried about bombings of different kinds, so to speak, or unwanted visitors, if somebody's in there, you can first of all kick them out by opening up people over here on the right, but you can also end the call if you need to and reinstitute at another time. If at any time while you're in your Zoom meeting, or pardon me, your Meet, you want to share that contact, again, you can click in the bottom left corner here. There's an up menu. And here's where you can attach files, but more importantly, here's the join information. So if I'm halfway through and I'm getting an email from a student that they can't get in, I can copy this join information to my clipboard, paste it in an email just to them, and send it off to them. All right, so I'm going to pause here for a minute, and I'm going to say, I'm going to look at chat, but I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and open a Meet and kick things around. I'm going to actually close this meeting, because we're on Zoom and it's still got my whole screen right there, and I'll go back to my training class. So let me just check in chat while you guys are kicking some things around. So let's take a look here. Let's see. All right. Well, let me join. Thank you again. Ken Burdick. Always good to see you, Ken. Is Meet the preferred method for meeting with students, or is Zoom, Teams, et cetera, still an option? So I talked about this a little bit earlier, but worth talking about again, especially for anybody who joined a couple of minutes after we chatted about this. We are at KCSOS, we're not taking a stance on what's best, because quite frankly, we know that our districts can make that decision based on the technology that they have, their user preferences, and the needs of their stakeholders. So different districts are different ways. These trainings are open to all 46 districts in our county. So there are a number on this meeting that are using Meet as their exclusive tool. There are a number that have Meet and Zoom open, or Meet and Teams open, or Zoom and Teams open. So to answer your question, Ken, I would talk to your local leadership and find out what, in your case, Kern High is doing, just to make sure you know what their options are. The last I heard, and this was last Thursday from Brian Campoy in Innovative Programs, was that they were continuing with Microsoft Teams with the O365 platform, and that they were encouraging the Meet platform as well within Google Classroom. So I don't know anything beyond that, but you could certainly talk to your folks. There's pluses and minuses with any of these video conferencing tools, and what it really gets down to is, to me, is knowing the tools well so that you can protect people that are in that meeting and react quickly. So a lot of right answers to that. Let's see, Lori, I do not have district yet or our grade level. Will this also work when our district Google works? Yes, it absolutely will. Kimberly, is there a way to join as a presenter? I think I just showed you the presenter piece. Let's see, so we're all in Hangouts. Why do we not, let's see. So we are all in Hangouts while we do not have G Suite. Yes, Lori, that is true. If you don't have G Suite, then the Meet is not available to you. Hangouts is the only thing that you have. However, you can take this link, like for instance, if I wanted to, if you look at my screen here, if I want to copy this link or open a Meet, I can send that to anybody. So as a recipient, you can open Meet even if you're not logged into your G Suite account. You can share it out. So that's where you have to be careful about users grabbing that and forwarding it on. So let's see, is there any way to change background like you can with Zoom? I have not found that tool in this yet, Melissa. So if anybody else has found that, please jump in and let us know. My friend Betsy, can you send an invite email to a future scheduled meeting also? Absolutely you can, Betsy. Let me show you how to do that. So you'd want to get to your calendar first. So one of two ways. I can go to, I'm in my classroom here on the screen. I can go to classwork and then click on calendar. Or I can go to my waffle and I can just select calendar. So the first thing you want to do, I'm going to go from classroom. The first thing you want to do is schedule the meeting. So remember, I scheduled these 2 meetings here. Once you open the meeting, let's go ahead and open the meeting fully. You can copy this information Sorry, here's the notification. Where did it go? Oh, once you create the meeting, a couple of ways. You can copy the meeting room and just send it out right here, the meeting ID number, but you can also then add people to this calendar request. So you can add it to their calendar, which I would recommend doing that over an email, especially if it's for students, just because then it lives on their calendar and they'll get reminders that it's coming up, and they will just have to click on their calendar or go into Classroom to open it up. So that's a great point, Betsy. I appreciate you bringing that up, because we didn't, we talked mainly, at least in the demo, about just scheduling a kind of ad hoc meeting, but the same tools to start the meeting affect you if you have a previously scheduled meeting. So you can share it in Calendar, or you can copy that room and then type in the details and shoot it off that way. Okay, Ken, I'm not sure what we noticed was, but maybe that was to the mute. Can it translate into Spanish? It does not translate into Spanish that I'm aware of, unless you were to get an add-on, and I'm not sure what that add-on is. So my knowledge of that is it's English only at this moment, but perhaps there are others in the meeting here that would have a more thorough answer. So I would throw that out. Let's see, whenever I go to another tab from this or any meeting, it kicks me out. How do I get back to this meeting without going to the original link? Your meeting will resume, but it doesn't. So if you were in I'm not sure, this was a private message, so I won't use the name. So I'm not sure if you're talking about the Zoom link or the Meet link. So if you could maybe give me a little more info on that, I can follow up with you. Let's see, we meet 2 times a week. I've had trouble with that link being different from the link when I open a meeting. So I'm wondering, Lori, if that means if you change your Classroom link, does it change for previously scheduled meetings? That I'm not sure about. Ken, I'm not sure what you want me to say again. If you can give me a little more information, I'm happy to help you out. And Betsy, you're very welcome. Happy to help, friend. Let's see, is there any way to turn off video when joining like in Zoom? Great question. So let's go over here back to open a meeting again. And the default, when we open up here for Join Now, you can look at other options. And there is a dial-in option or a call me option, but the only way to stop your camera is to go down here in the right corner, or pardon me, center right, and just turn off your camera. So it's going to grab your video right away, but you can turn it off very, very quickly. So unlike Zoom there, you can't set that as a setting. Let's see. Once you put it on Calendar, how do you post it to Classroom? So if you create it right from your classwork tab up here and then go to Google Calendar, then it will push out to everybody who's in that class. It will push out to their calendar automatically. Let's see, I don't often use the calendar function. I see that I have a calendar for all the classes, current and archived, as well as one with my name. Can I add the meeting to one, some, or all of the calendars? Yes, you can, and there's 2 ways to do that. The first way you can do that is by, I'm going to go back to Classroom here. So if I'm in my training class and I open my Google Calendar, and by the way, Rebecca, thanks so much for asking this. This is a great clarification. If I open Calendar from the class, it's going to assume that I want to add something to the calendar for the training class menu, okay? But if I want to go to Calendar, or once I'm in Calendar, if I want to do a different appointment, I can also select which calendar it's going to go on. And if you look, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. If you look at right here, the calendar icon, right now it's going to Chris Persons, but that's my personal calendar on Gmail or on Calendar. But I can also select, if I have multiple classes, here's where the kind of laundry list where I can put something on a specific class and I can color code it. So you can create something for one of your classes by going directly to Calendar, or you can go straight to the class and open Calendar that way, just kind of as a preference thing. So Ken, Betsy's question, to repeat Betsy's question about going to the calendar, I would assume. So let me scroll back up to Betsy's question here. Can you send an invite email to future scheduled meet also? So if I go to create a meeting here, again, go to Calendar, and I'm going to create my meeting. Let's say it's going to be tomorrow at 1. I'm going to add video conferencing, and you can see here, here's my meeting ID and phone numbers. So I can cut and paste this into an email, and I can send it off to people. I can also set in a reminder that will automatically go with that calendar as well, or that appointment as well. So, all right, let me go back to the bottom of chat. I think I caught up on that. All right, so looking at the time, guys, I want to shift ahead to resources. If I haven't answered your question, hang on for a moment, and we will be sure to circle back on that. But I want to go back to our training agenda because, again, I want to be cognizant of time and respect your time. So we've talked about now Hangout versus Meet, activate and start, schedule and share, and meeting controls. Couple of resources now that I want to share with you. These are all hot linked in the slides if you have those slides already. If not, you can scroll up in the chat and grab that link. There's so many great EdTech videos, guys, out there on Meet that you can take a look at, but we've posted a 4-minute video in there. I'm a real fan of these short point-and-click EdTech teachers videos for these sorts of things. I don't know about you, but I don't often like to watch a video for 45 minutes when I'm looking for a specific skill. So here's a 4-minute video on Meet. Here's a great slide deck for students with directions if they're new to Meet, to be able to post that into Classroom to help acclimate them before they get on, or even refer them back to. Another one with getting started and some guidelines, and then a Meet quick guide. One of the things that we find really helpful here is when you're getting into Meet, if it's new for your kids, set those expectations. Now, you don't have to adopt these expectations, but I would really encourage you, especially in this time of distance learning, guys, that when maybe we're not always used to the rules that we're going to follow about how we're going to meet, and maybe your kids aren't totally clear on them, it's really helpful to set these expectations. I'll be totally transparent with you. I hosted a meeting. I teach a class at my church for 12-year-olds. I have 25 sixth graders once a week for an hour and a half. And we've had to finish our coursework this year in distance learning. And the first time I did it, I did not set these expectations. I've been doing Zooms for 7 weeks with adults and it hasn't been a problem. Holy cow, did I get an education on how to turn off annotation and limit chat and unmute and mute all and all those sorts of things. So I found that part of the problem was I didn't set the expectations. So learn from my mistake. Any of these are great, but also make up your own custom and just make sure you remind your kids every single time. It just doesn't hurt. And just like in classroom discipline, it gives you that kind of structure to go back to and remind your kids what is expected of them. So finally, my friends, I think that is the last piece of our dedicated agenda. My contact information is in here as well. Feel free to reach out if there's anything I can do. KCSOS is pushing through a number of other trainings coming up. We would love to have you back for any or all of them. I am going to post a quick feedback survey in the chat. If you could give me just a couple of minutes and fill out this survey. We try very hard at KCSOS to be reflective about our training and make sure that it is meeting the needs of our educators. And we take often a best guess scenario when we are designing these things, but as we continue to offer them, your feedback is crucial in us making sure that we are meeting your needs. So please, this is an anonymous survey. We read every line of it after every training and start to implement it for the very next training. So please don't hold back. If there's something we can do either in content or style or facilitation for me personally, please let me know in there. Again, I'll be taking a look at that later today. With that, my friends, I'm going to stay online for a couple of minutes. I'm happy to answer any additional questions that you may have. But in the meantime, I would just want to take a moment and thank you all so much for being willing to do new things for our kids in this new normal of distance learning. These are tough times for us as educators. These are tough times for our kids. But I've been in this profession now for 23 years, and I've been proud every day to be an educator in Kern County. But I've never been more proud of my colleagues than I have in the last 7 weeks, and watching what our teachers are willing to do to meet the needs of our students. So thank you all very, very much. I appreciate it. I will hang for a couple of minutes. Robert, I see your note. Thank you for that. I will take care of that misspelling for the next time we give this training. I appreciate you, sir. Thanks all. I'll hang for a couple of minutes. Otherwise, have a wonderful Monday, and we will see you in the next Zoom. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Isabella.
Hi, Chris. This is Diane Barnett. Can you hear me?
I sure can. How are you, Diane?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you. And I apologize. I have been in and out on this, but I love your slide deck and I love the parts that I heard. I worked with some of our speech teachers this morning and they have to schedule Google Meet like crazy. if they're doing it in their classroom, they can't use just one link because they're meeting with individual students or small groups.
Yeah.
So then we talked about putting those links in announcements just, through in the stream just for those particular students, but we can't hide that. So those links, do they have to reschedule every week? I guess that's my question, because those links, yeah, go ahead.
No, finish the rest of your
Well,
question.
so those links, I thought that if they set up a Tuesday, Thursday from here to eternity, they could use the same link. But those kids can use that link to get on anytime, correct?
Right. Correct.
So
it is a little bit of a scheduling nightmare, but we've had to do the same thing. I'll liken it to Zoom just in terms of frequency of training. So we run trainings for Cameron and I, my normal partner in this
yes.
training, we run at 9, 10:30, and 1 every day, and then often 2:30 and 4, depending on the day. If I set those up under my regular Zoom link, that means anybody can jump into any meeting, and that's fine for training. But then if Cam and I are just doing a planning together on that same link, anybody can jump in.
Right.
I would strongly encourage that you make, especially for a speech path, that you make a custom link for each one. It takes a little longer, but here's the good news. You're going to get really good at it. Really,
that's true.
I'm just trying to find some silver there for you, my friend.
So each week they're going to have to just reschedule a new meeting with their kids.
Yes, that's what it means. And it'll be safer for the kids then too, to make sure others aren't jumping in.
Perfect. Okay, well, I was hoping you come up with a miracle, but you know what? We'll do with what we need to do.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. And thank you so much for your presentations. I love them. You move at the speed of light, and I actually can keep, I love it. Cover a lot of stuff, and it's very well done. Thank you.
Well, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. I appreciate that feedback. I'm happy to help in any way I can right now. So.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Oh yeah, who's next?
Is it okay if Lori's next?
Hi, Lori. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for posting all that stuff. I appreciate your help.
Oh, no. So if I, and I've done it all different ways. We meet twice a week now. But if I do my link ahead of time, which I do, I put it in calendar, and then I copy that link and I give it to them ahead of time. And then I go in on the day of the meeting, which is usually a couple days later. And I go in the meeting and I open that link is different. And now they can't get into that meeting from using the one I shared ahead of time. Is it because we don't have G Suite at our grade level and we're just using Hangouts? I just don't understand why it's not working.
That's a good question. I am not very familiar with the customization in Hangout, if I'm being honest.
It's me either. I thought we were in Meet this whole time. I had no idea.
Well, now you know, right?
Yeah, I'm glad.
My understanding, and I think that's part of the separation between Hangout and Meet, is that they wanted to be able to customize those meeting links that you're talking about. Right. Because my understanding in Hangout is that, and again, this is, if somebody knows more, correct me, okay? Let's learn together. But my understanding in Hangout is you just have one Hangout kind of room, if you will, and if you change it, then you just have one place to be. But in Meet, you can pre-schedule multiple private meetings for select groups of people. So if you don't have Meet yet, I would talk to IT about getting that turned on, because if you're using G Suite as a district, it's available to you. You just have to have them turned on.
Well, it shows I'm using Meet to make these. And just like the one that, like I have the one open and you saw that one, I think. And I just clicked out of you. And it is Meet. My tab even shows I'm in Meet, not Hangouts.
Okay.
So
well, you should be able, I would mess around with it and kick the tires a little bit, but if you're using Meet, you should be able to customize that name and pre-schedule things and select a custom audience for each one, just like you would on Teams or on Zoom.
Okay.
And that was part of the breakout that they needed to do with those two platforms.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'll get with our tech. Great. Hopefully they get a G Suite soon.
And if that doesn't work, you've got my email. Hit me up. I'm happy to try to help with other solutions. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lori. Yeah, I saw a question.
Hello.
Hold on one second. I think I saw a question in here from my friend Ken again about difference between Meet and Hangout. So again, we talked about that in the beginning, but Hangout and Meet are separating. They're both still available, but Meet is available if you have G Suite tools, and it's meant to be a meeting solution like Zoom or Teams. Hangout will continue in your private Gmail account, and that is meant for more informal Hangouts without screen sharing and whiteboards and things like that. So, all right, let's see. Was it Julia?
Yes, thank you.
How you doing?
Fine. I sent this message last week sometime asking you this question. Let's see if you understand it. And anytime that you asked us to go to, like today, go to create a classroom, and whenever I leave to go to another tab, the tab that I have right now, your picture on Zoom, goes, and I go to classroom, and I was creating my classroom. But then when I come back to your tab says your meeting will resume. And I wait around for it and it doesn't. So I always have to go back to the original link to get you back up. You disappear. I don't know where it's going. So how do I get you to stay while I'm looking for whatever you're asking us to do?
That's a great question. I'm not sure if I can help you with that. That might be, are you using a personal device or is it a device managed by your district?
It's my district. You see?
Okay. I would reach out to the IT. There must be a setting in there, Julia, and maybe it's limiting, if they're thinking of student protections and they're limiting how many tabs and live streaming and if you click away. But I don't think that is a global problem. I think that's something in the settings or structure for your district. So, and I wish I had a better answer, but I think your best bet is going to be to reach out to them and explain what's going on. Perhaps there's something they can do in teacher settings, or maybe they can tell you exactly how to get around that based on the protections that they've set in their organization.
I'm hearing you talk. You know, when I'm going to do whatever I'm doing, the little assignment you give us, I'm hearing your voice, but I can't get you back on unless I go back and click on the link.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to reach out to your IT folks.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Thank you. We had a question in the chat about recordings. Thank you. I forgot to mention that. I apologize, friends. 2 ways that you can get these recordings of today's and other trainings. If you are under the KCSOS Canvas umbrella, so that's going to be essentially everybody except Kern High. So there's 2 umbrellas in Kern County for Canvas. Kern High has had Canvas for the last 5 years. They use it for their distance learning program. So they were up and running before this happened, at least in that capacity for distance learning. Then we came in with KCSOS and all the other districts, the other 46 districts, and 190,000 students are all under that umbrella. So if you are in the KCSOS umbrella, open up the KCSOS teacher onboarding course, and you'll see all the resources that Cameron and I have created there for onboarding, as well as our video library for training. This video will be in there in a couple of days. We're going to have to do some editing, but that's where you can find it. If you're Kern High, please go to the Distance Learning Google tab, and let me see. I think I have a copy of that. Hold on here. No, that's the master doc. Here it is. Let me post this in chat. If you're in Kern High School District, you have a a digital resources Google page that I've just posted there. And Mr. Campoy has posted and updated all of the videos that are as we continue to curate those. So if you're in Kern High, you can continue or rewatch these here. We'd love to have you live for training, but hey, I get it. Sometimes we, based on schedule, have to do it other ways. So we wanted to make sure we had support for everybody. So, all right, looking elsewhere in chat. You're welcome, Ken. Happy to help. Good. Jamie, I'm so glad it was helpful to be able to click along. Let's see.
Chris, I have a question. This is Ken.
What's up, Ken?
How are you, my friend?
How are you?
Great. Here, let me turn on my video so you can see me too. Hi, how are you? Okay. So the feedback link that you sent talked about Canvas. Like, did I learn anything about Canvas? Is this all part of Canvas?
This is one of the ongoing trainings that we're offering that started with Canvas. I probably should change that language. Thanks, Ken. But yeah, so we're doing onboarding for Canvas, advanced training for Canvas, but we're also doing app development and platform training because we have 47 districts in this county and they all have a different solution. So even though this started with Canvas, which really is a learning management system that would bring together all of your other apps, we're still running training to support our districts who, for instance, maybe aren't using Canvas or want to continue with certain apps. So we're running Screencastify, Zoom, Forms, Classroom.
And that's all under the Canvas umbrella. So when we're answering the feedback questions, did we learn anything about Canvas? Yes. So, okay. So
I'll change on that, Ken. But yeah, that's really for Cameron and I, my partner, who normally is here to help, but he's assignment just for today. That's just for us to be able to circle back in next topic. So that's a great point. I will broaden that language so it doesn't. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm gonna take off. Thank you.
All right, brother. Be well.
Bye. You too.
Let's see. How will we know if we're under the KCSOS Canvas umbrella? If you're in Kern High, you're under the Kern High umbrella. And if you're anywhere else, the other 46 districts in the county, then you are under the KCSOS umbrella at this point. Just because of the timing of things, we were able to negotiate with Canvas to get a broad umbrella to encompass all or up to 190,000 students in Kern, or pardon me, in Kern County. So if your district has added on with Dr. Barlow and Dr. Gilbert, then you're part of that umbrella under KCSOS. So you still have your own area, your own domain, you still run your own stuff. We don't get into any of that. We just negotiated as a larger group, which basically allowed us to get a better deal. So hope that answers that question, friends. So, all right, and I will change my feedback survey as well. So, all right, guys, we're down to less than half. Appreciate your time today, and I'm not seeing anything new in the chat. I want to thank you all again for all the hard work that you're doing. Elena, I think I talked about the recordings already. If you go to the KCSOS, onboarding, teacher onboarding site, you'll get these recordings. Or if you're Kern High, go to the digital resources Google page that is in the chat. If you scroll up just a little, you can grab it. So, oh, thanks, Kimberly. I appreciate that. Everybody have a wonderful day. Great to see you today. Happy Monday. And we're coming back today at 1 o'clock. Let's see, what's my schedule today? 1 o'clock with communication tools. And if you want to jump in tomorrow, grading at 9, Google Forms for the experienced user at 10:30, and then customizing content at 1, and using Drive or Google Drive for new users also at 1. Take care, my friends. Have a great day. See you soon.